Remember the 5th of November, Rachel. Rachel, remember the 5th of November. Wait, I'm in the wrong movie.
V for Vendetta stars Natalie Portman and Hugo Weaving and is a story about a man named V. V is a badass vigilante. No, it's not Batman, it's a man named V. V is trying to tell the people of a very corrupt and cruel society that their government is behind a lot of the reasons why the society is so cruel and corrupt, and that the people need to stop giving the government everything they want and start being the real leaders of the society. Now, I watched V for Vendetta for the very first time actually just 10 minutes ago. I'm not even going to lie. So I kind of got a very fresh and new take on V, and I didn't grow up with this movie. I just, like I said, watched it for the first time. I didn't watch any trailers. I just went into this with a fresh, open mind, and I've been putting this movie back on my watch list because I haven't really been interested in watching this movie. I just kind of saw it as Batman, but not Batman. But I gotta say, this movie is amazing. This is not your average comic book movie. This movie goes a lot more into politics than into the actual comic book section of this. And what this does, going into the politics and going over a cruel society, obviously this is fiction, it shows and makes you think that this could actually happen. Because this actually kind of has happened a couple times in our modern world. A terrorist has attacked us to kind of show that our world is corrupt and kind of to send a message. It's happened before. But I think where this movie stands above the rest of the comic book movies is that political aspect. Now, watching reviews on this movie before I actually even watched it, just to know what I was getting myself into, I heard no action, politics, this is going to be boring. But the politics actually present themselves to be really interesting in this movie, as we kind of relate to them in a sense that there's days and there's times where we look at our government today and are just like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to us? Why don't us as people do this with our government? And right now, what's going on in our society with all the protesting and stuff, this movie was honestly, it kind of reminded me of what's going on now. One person's actions and what one person did is showing what truly could happen to society. And I'm not going to say whether I agree or disagree with whatever is going on, but this movie, I just fell in love with this movie instantly right off the bat. Now, getting into our character of V, he's played perfectly by Hugo Weaving. You buy into him as this depressed soul who's been through so much shit in his life, and he's had such a bad life, but he really can't remember his life because of what has happened in his life. And all he really knows is hatred and revenge, but he uses that hatred and revenge to help society. He's really the anti-hero in this movie. He's not completely a hero. He's not really a villain. He's doing villainous acts. But when you realize he's doing villainous acts to show why our society is corrupt, you start to wonder, he has to do these for us to have any idea how shitty our society is. And you're just like, he's not really the villain. We're the villain. The government's the villain because he has to do all this just to get our attention. It's kind of messed up. But also another character who shines in this movie is Natalie Portman. I actually almost think she's the main character in this movie. And V is just sort of there, and what's going on in society is sort of there, in my opinion. And she was excellent in this role. She's kind of playing this soul who also has lived the same life as Hugo. She's been through a lot of loss. She doesn't really have a life. She's always in constant fear. And Hugo, how he trains her is very interesting. He trains her how he was not trained, but how he became who he is today, and how he sort of became this badass mutated vigilante. It's really interesting, and it really makes you just... you get so emotionally invested with the character Natalie Portman, because literally every 20 minutes that she knows V, she's just like, oh, this person died. Oh, I had another loss. Oh, I had another tragedy in the family. You're just like, your life is more fucked up than V, yet V is acting like his life is to shit, which it is. But yeah, Natalie Portman just sells it. And I actually think this is her best movie role, and I think this is her best acting she's ever done her whole career. And that's saying a lot, because I think Black Swan is an excellent-ass movie. But she just... I didn't even see Natalie Portman. I just saw a lost soul and a lost society. And same with Hugo Weaving. Now, I am going to get into a little bit of spoilers here. So if you haven't seen V for Vendetta, it's on Netflix right now. I highly recommend it. Go watch this movie and then come back to this review and finish this. I think the ending of this movie couldn't have been any more perfect. First of all, obviously when V gives the keys to the train to be able to go blow up the clock tower in the city to Natalie Portman, saying, "This is up to society, not up to me." He's not putting it up to him, because all he wants to do is go kill the people that made him, and he wants to put the keys to help the society and give it hope into the actual a person living in the society. And I thought that was really heartfelt. Also, Natalie Portman kissing V, I didn't love it. I didn't really like that part. I kind of wanted them to just be friends. I get why it happened, but I do really like that it never shows his face. It shows it for a brief moment, but he's in the dark. You can't see him. He's wearing a disguise. So we don't know who V is. We know it's Hugo Weaving, but we don't know who he is. We don't know what he looks like. And there's actually, I have a little theory. What if he's the person at the very beginning of this movie who died? It's a little bit of a stretch. I don't think that's actually what happened. It's just a theory. But yeah, the ending is perfect. And obviously with the V signs and the fireworks. First of all, how did V do that? How did he plant those fireworks so perfectly and promiscuously that they would just make a perfect V? Yeah, it's kind of weird. Now, like I said, this is a very politically driven movie, but the action scenes are filmed excellently. They're masterfully crafted. The first one we see, I didn't really like. It's a lot of zoom in. You don't really see a lot. You see the knife. But the very last action scene between V and his main maker, Mr. Creed, and you just see the knives twirling, and you see it. It is slow-mo. It's literally some Matrix type shit, and it's just, it's fucking crazy. It's sick. It's amazing. It's one of the best action scenes in comic book history, and I've only seen it once. Now, the Wachowski Brothers did direct this movie, and obviously knowing that they did, obviously they also made The Matrix, you understand why the action scene was so dope, because you know what they made in The Matrix. And watching trailers for this movie, I gotta say, they make this movie seem like it's gonna be a huge action-packed, thrilling movie. No, it's more a drama, action-packed, political-driven movie. Action's the very last thing. And the action doesn't feel tacked on because of that. It feels needed. It feels like it should happen. It feels earned, the action. It doesn't feel just like it's there. And I can really appreciate that, because in most comic book movies we get, it feels like it's just there for our entertainment. And I appreciated that with this movie. But to get into my final Marcos movie's opinion, V for Vendetta is one of the best comic book movies ever made. I had a couple little things I didn't completely mention because I didn't feel like they were needed. I didn't want to spoil anything besides the ending, which I gave the spoiler warning. But overall, this is one of the best and maybe the most underrated comic book movie of all time. And I gotta say, this will please 90% of its audience. And it pleased me. I already love this movie off of just one watch. I'm gonna give V for Vendetta an A. I was very close to giving this movie an A+. What was holding me back is I only watched it once. I need to watch it again. I need to see if it holds up another time. And what I might do is watch it again and do a spoiler-filled review. Let me know if you guys want to see that, where I just cover the whole movie and I explain what I think the movie means and all that shit. But if you guys enjoyed this movie review, please consider clicking that subscribe button. Thank you for tuning into this movie review. And as always, keep watching movies.